Hey everyone, my name is Emily. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, which is about my capsule wardrobe and the steps I took to be able to create it. I do want to do a couple little disclaimers or just like a little backstory behind my wardrobe. Now, I've lived with a really small wardrobe for years now, and it has been a long journey. It's not something that happened overnight. I ended up with a really small wardrobe to the point that it only had like less than 10 pieces. It was ridiculous, but the reasoning behind it is because I've been losing a lot of weight. And last year I lost over 35 pounds, and I've just been like getting rid of things that were too big for me. And it got to the point that I didn't have much clothes to work with, but I also know I don't want to invest a ton of money into a whole new wardrobe because I'm not where I want to be. However, I still needed clothes. I still need to wear something, and I needed to pretty much start from scratch of making a whole new wardrobe. And I thought it'd be a good video for you guys if you are wanting to start a capsule wardrobe, you don't know where to start. Now, even though I'm starting off with like bare bones, you can incorporate these steps into your own, but again, don't feel like you need to either declutter your whole entire wardrobe or buy all new pieces. You can just rearrange some things or put some things away and work with what you have. You don't need to spend a crazy amount of money, but for me, I did need to start pretty much all over. I wanted to invest in some pieces that will last me a long time through my weight loss journey, but also I needed a bunch of stuff. So it was interesting the way that I had to do it. It's definitely not my ideal wardrobe, and I will say that because of course I would love to invest in like sustainable brands, really nice, high quality, gonna last me years type of brands. But the truth of the matter was that I needed everything, and I also didn't want to invest a ton of money in things that I know I was going to grow out of, even though lose out of. I don't know what the term would be, but I'm losing weight, so they're not gonna be lasting me years. And so I needed to very much start from scratch, and I hope these steps help you if you are wanting to start a capsule wardrobe, you're just interested in it and you don't know where to go. Here we are. Let's just get started with the very first thing that I had to do, which was go through my closet and declutter things that no longer worked. And you saw that with my very first video on this channel, where you saw the whole process of me figuring out what to keep, what to get rid of if things were too big for me, really worn. Since I have such a small wardrobe, everything was getting a lot of use, washed a ton, had for years, and so I needed to just get rid of the old things that no longer worked for me. And even since that video, I did declutter some other things that in the video I kept because I was like, well, I don't have many shirts, I'm gonna keep it even though it's still too big. I ended up getting rid of those things because I was like, well, if I'm gonna do this, I want to get rid of the things that I know I'm just not going to use if I got new pieces. So that's what I ended up doing. I did get rid of a couple more things since then. Now, the second step was to take all the things that were not in season and to store them away. Now, if you are working with maybe not so much closet space, you can't just like store everything away. Just put it in a different section of your closet, make a divider, and keep things just separate so you can have kind of a grasp of what you have for that specific season and not necessarily for the whole entire year. And when I did that, I realized I had pretty much nothing. Now, I lived in San Diego for 6 years, and it was sunny and 70 the majority of the time. Like, that is the truth. It's pretty much sunny all the time. Maybe a few rainy days in the winter, maybe a couple cooler nights, but in general, it's a pretty tempered climate. Last year, we did move into a house that's about an hour north, but also in like the mountains, so we do have actual seasons here, and I needed to invest in some winter pieces last year, so I did separate the two. That I actually have my summer pieces for now, and I stored away the rest, which was new to me, and it actually showed me just how little I had for the summer. And here it gets really, really hot. It gets like up to like 115 degrees here in the summertime, so I needed to make a little break and store everything away, not only to see what I had for the summer, but to be excited about the old things come fall or winter, just to be able to be like, oh, I love this thing, you know. I'm hoping that happens, or maybe I'm storing things away that maybe I should have decluttered already. I don't know, we shall see come fall, but I did put away all the things that were just not for the season. And step number 3 was a real eye-opener once I did step number 2, which was to take inventory of what I had. I made a list of all the things that I had, shorts, pants, shirts, and it really helped me see any holes, which is pretty much my whole entire wardrobe. I legit had 7 items for the summer. Like, that is crazy. I also took note of my favorite pieces that I wanted to wear more often because they're my favorite pieces. And I wanted to make sure things that I buy in the future are going to match these items so that I can wear them and style them easily with the things that I already loved. So my two favorite pieces are these shorts and this wrap. So I love wearing these. They fit well together, and I wanted to make sure that things that I bought worked well for either of these or both of these, because it was just really easy for me to put them into my wardrobe without having a lot of issues with not being able to style it. Like, I know a lot of the things that I purchased match these two items, so I was able to really make a very versatile closet. The fourth thing that I did was to come up with a budget, and this is going to be different for everybody. Maybe you have $100 to spend, maybe you don't really have much to spend, maybe you have, I did a $500 budget for everything that I needed, which with everything that I needed wasn't a lot, so I really needed to be smart about my budget, but it also just makes you accountable. Like, you're not just going crazy and buying all the new things because you have holes or you have this shopping list and you feel the need to buy everything on that shopping list. Like, make sure you have a budget, make sure you know how much you're going to spend, or not feel guilty about spending that much. Because if you actually did a budget, and don't just get a number out of the top of your head, like, actually do a family budget, know how much you are able to spend and stay within that realm. But I also wanted to make sure I used that whole amount, because for me, I always felt guilty if I bought something, and I just wanted to make sure it was okay. Like, in my head, I was like, I have this money to spend and I'm going to spend it on these new clothes. The fifth thing that I did was to determine 3 investment pieces. Now, I know I don't want to invest a ton of money in my seasonal things or the things for the summer, because I know I'm losing weight. Maybe by next summer, they're not going to fit me correctly. So I wanted to make sure my investment pieces were things that I know I could see through certain seasons, like through the whole entire year, but also would be okay if I lost weight, or I just wanted to make sure I was investing my money into like more sustainable or like higher quality items in areas that I knew would make sense. If you were curious, my 3 investment pieces was 1, a new purse, which I know is not in my capsule, but I wanted to make sure I had money set aside for a new purse. The one that I had for years. I only have one purse at a time, and it actually worked out that the purse, even though I had purse on my list, I was expecting to invest probably about $100 in a purse, but it actually worked out that I got a purse through my CosBox, and it's this one here. And this was perfect that it came in that, because I was able to put that money towards my actual budget. So this was the first thing that I wanted to have an investment in, was a purse, but luckily it worked out. And then the second item was this sweatshirt. I really wanted to get a nice high quality sweatshirt, but also I knew I was going to buy the sweatshirt anyways. I follow, what's her name? Mikkel Jancy Smith. She has a YouTube channel here, I'll leave it down below, but she was coming out with a new sustainable loungewear line, and specifically these sweatshirts, and they're made with like solar power. It's like really nice organic cotton. It's like such a nice sweatshirt. I knew it was pretty pricey. It was around like the $75 range, but I knew I was going to buy this one, so I put it in my budget. So getting the sweatshirt that I know is going to last me for a bunch of seasons, and since it's supposed to be oversized, I don't mind if I get a little bit smaller and it's a little bit loose on me, because that's its purpose. It's just be really comfy and cozy. Like, I don't know if this is what it looks like. It's just like really nice and oversized. And so this was definitely like an investment clothing item that is the way I want my capsule wardrobe to be in the future. Is like nice sustainable brands, but in reality I couldn't afford to get everything of this nice quality this time around. So I did end up investing in this, and I'm so excited about it. And then the third area that I invested in, which again is not really part of my capsule, but it was wardrobe related, was fitness gear. I really wanted to invest in a bunch of different athletic wear, so leggings, shirts, bras that I needed for exercising. So I did go through Fabletics. I'll do a whole separate video if you want to on like a real review about Fabletics. Not sponsored, regular person. If you're curious, please let me know. But I did want to spend like $200 on athletic wear. So between this and my athletic wear, I only had about just over $200 to spend for everything else, which isn't a lot considering I needed everything. So since I didn't have much to work with, I couldn't go the route that I wanted, which was to get more sustainable brands. And I also couldn't go the route where thrifting was an option, because everything is closed. So I couldn't do a thrift option. I could have done ThreadUp, but that's not really an affordable option when it comes to my sizing. Like, it's just as much to buy something from ThreadUp as it would be to buy from maybe a more fast fashion brand, which isn't my favorite thing to do, but that's what I was able to do. And it's okay to not feel guilty about it. I ended up going with a couple Amazon pieces, but most of it, 90% of it, was Old Navy. And I wanted to do Old Navy because when I was looking at my clothing, when I did inventory of everything that I had, the majority of my pieces were Old Navy that I've had for years, 3 or 4 years. So they've lasted a really long time for me. And I knew, since I don't own many, it was still like a sustainable option because I knew they were going to last me a long time if I needed them to. And it wasn't going to break the bank. I could get a lot of things, and I know my sizing, which is really important because right now I can't just go into a store and try everything on. I needed to order things online. I was able to determine the route I was able to do once I purchased my first 3 investment pieces. Now we go into the fun part, step number 6, which is the shopping aspect. So keeping in mind my color story, my favorite fits and styles, keeping in mind my budget, how many things that I needed. Using my shopping list, I was able to create my whole entire wardrobe, which I'll put on the screen here so you can see it. And it worked out really, really well. If you want to go over every single piece, I definitely can. Again, most of it's Old Navy, but I really used my shopping list, used my color story, which I will do a whole separate video about how I determine my color story, because I'm not someone who wears black, gray, and white. I'm not a neutral monochromatic person. I need some color in my life. So I really wanted to make sure it had a color story, but also I wanted to have space for like 2 or 3 statement pieces, because even though it's fun to mix and match everything, sometimes just a powerful color or some special item will just make you feel like $1,000,000 and you're just really excited to wear it. So I really knew I wanted a couple just statement items. One actually worked out with my color story, which was my cheetah print skirt. I really love the idea of cheetah print because I can wear it pretty much any season. I can easily wear it in the fall with some like neutrals or browns or tans, but I can also wear it in the summertime with something white and crisp and fun. So I did get a cheetah print skirt, which is so much fun. I've been wearing it so much. And then the colorful dress, which I'll put here so you guys can see it too. I actually got that from Amazon and it was only, I think, $20. And it fits really well. I've already washed it a few times. It still looks brand new. Like, I will just say, even though you have a color story, make a little bit of room for something fun and exciting. Just make sure it is pairable with something if it needs to be. Like the skirt wouldn't have made sense if I didn't have tops that would have worked with it, but the dress itself is just like, you just wear the dress with the shoes and it's fine. It's a whole outfit. So I would just say go for it if you want a couple of fun pieces, but the majority of your closet should be mix and matchable. I also want to mention, if you are on a strict budget, to wait for a sale. You don't want to buy everything all at once. So I actually did wait a couple of weeks before I purchased anything because it was still like I wouldn't have been able to buy everything that I needed, but I knew that Old Navy often has sales and I was able to wait until there was like a crazy deal. It was like 30% off, an extra 50% off or something. So I was able to get everything else in my wardrobe for about $200, I think a little bit over, but I still stayed within my budget and I got so much stuff for pretty low price, which I know is not, again, my ideal situation was to buy a ton of things from a fast fashion place, but it's what I was able to do, and it's okay if you can't spend crazy amounts of money on individual items because not everyone can afford that. I was able to get everything in my wardrobe for within my budget, and this is how it ended up, and I'm really happy with it. I've been loving it. I feel so much more confident, and I feel like I really rewarded myself for the weight that I have already lost, because so far I haven't really rewarded myself at all. It's not like you can reward yourself with food or doing something crazy right now because you're stuck inside. So I liked the fact that I did invest in myself and got some things that made me feel confident with the weight that I have already lost. But I don't feel super guilty by spending a ton of money on a new wardrobe that I know won't last me a few more summers. So I hope this video helped you, whether you are starting from scratch or if you are working with your current wardrobe and trying to figure out what to where to start with this whole capsule wardrobe idea. I hope this video helped you at all. If it did, please give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe if you are liking these videos, and stay tuned for more to come. I definitely have so much. On Fridays, I do have food videos about subscription boxes, and I have a ton of other things happening. So thank you so much for coming by today. Make sure you stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time.